I offer my most loving pranams at the divine lotus feet for most beloved Bhagavan, Shri Sathya Sai Baba. Brothers and sisters, Sai Ram to all of you. Today is Shri Ramanavami, and today we also commemorate 1 year since our beloved Swami cast his physical frame. There is perhaps no better way to reflect on his life and teachings than to be in the company of those whose lives have been touched and transformed by our beloved Swami. So we're extremely blessed to have the Erhard family with all of us here today, who are going to share their spiritual journey and also their soulful music with all of us. Dr. Paul Erhard is a music professor from the University of Colorado, but most importantly, is an ardent devotee of our beloved Swami, and he was blessed to train the university brass band of the Sri Sathya Sai University. His wife, Mrs. Ellen, herself taught violin to the primary school students in Puttaparthi, and both their students have performed on numerous occasions in the Divine Presence. And they themselves have performed in front of our beloved Swami on many occasions as part of the International Sai Symphony Orchestra. Their sons, Jeffrey and Robert, both of them were blessed to study in Swami's Institute for 7 years. And they came out of the Institute in 2009. And as students, they were active in the Veda chanting group as well as the music group in Puttaparthi. They come here today representing a music group called Sands Around Infinity, which abbreviates to SAI, Sai. I request you to join me in giving a very warm welcome to this blessed family.
Our pleasure. An honor to be here. And to turn ourselves on for Swami. We've been very fortunate. My wife and I went to India for the first time in 1985. And in 1991, the Sai Baba Center of Boulder moved into our house and was there for 12 years, which was a wonderful blessing because then our boys were at every Sai Baba meeting and helping getting the house ready. In 1997, we went as a family for the first time for what was supposed to be 3 weeks and turned into being 13 weeks. And it was during that time that I began interacting with the students of the Sri Sathya Sai Higher Institute Brass Band. And it was during that time that I wrote the first of... I've written about 16 pieces for the band, where I've taken bhajans and converted them into Western-style marches in the style of John Philip Sousa. And that was the first time I did that. And the bhajan, Sai Ram, that was the first bhajan that I wrote a slow march for. And for those of you who have been either to sports meet or to convocation, you know that the brass band leads Swami in. And in this case, in 1997, we marched him in from the Purnachandra into Sai Kulwant Hall. I think that's the way it went. And then in the following year, as Sundar mentioned, my wife then began teaching in the primary school and has had so much thrill and joy working with those students in the school. The music that we're going to play for you today is primarily bhajans, They're bhajan songs which we have, again, added Western harmonies and Western rhythms to, much in the same style of the marches that I arranged for the Sai band. And as beautiful as it was to write marches for the brass band and train them, and then have Swami march behind them, and Swami to shower his blessings on that band. We have one of the former band boys is here. Where is he? Yeah, trombone. So he's one of my students. Yeah, it's so great. And so we feel that what we're doing here, how shall we say, adding a Western touch to the bhajans, will meet with Swami's approval, since the other ones that I wrote he seemed to enjoy. Some of you may have been here in 2007 when I was blessed to be on the stage with two fantastic musicians from Bangalore, Muthu Kumar Tabla and Annada Prasna Patnaik, or Bhutto. We performed here as Atmic Vision. And with that group, we also perform bhajans. Not as harmonized, not with such Western harmonies as what we're doing now. So we offer our most humble pranams at Swami's divine lotus feet and thank him for giving us this blessed opportunity to be in your presence, to be with you all who live his message of God is love, live in love. And we hope you enjoy our program. Jai Saram.
We are all here out of the deepest love for you, which connects us to you and connects us to one another. And we pray that today we are instruments of your love, and you connect us further to you, and help us share our love in the world. Become instruments of your love. Jai Sathya. गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीरामभित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्.
Ganesh Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha 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 Sai Sharanam Sharanam Saisha Sai Sharanam Sharanam Saisha Sai Sharanam Sharanam Saisha Sai Sharanam Sharanam Saisha Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha Ganesha Sharanam Sharanam Ganesha.
This next piece is in a tango. So this is for our Argentinian Sai brothers and sisters. Shiva 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 Sada Shiva Om Hare 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 Mahadeva Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Hare 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 Mahadeva Shiva 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 Sada Shiva Om Hare 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 Mahadeva Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Brahma Vishnu Surachithaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Brahma Vishnu Surachithaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Uma Ganesha Sharvan Sevita Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Uma Ganesha Sharvan Sevita Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya. Brahma Vishnu Surachitaya Om Namo
Shivaya Brahma Vishnu Surachitaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Ganesha Sharvan Sevita Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Ganesha Sharvan Sevita Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya Om Namo Namo Namah Shivaya.
This next bhajan, the middle section, you'll hear something that sounds very ancient. As Sai Ram, Sai Baba is eternal, we go back about 1400 years in the middle portion of this. So what you hear is Western harmonies, but very old sounding. Sai Ram, Sai
मुझे शांति दो भगवान, तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं। मुझे शांति दो भगवान, मुझे शांति दो भगवान, मुझे शांति दो भगवान, तेरे जीवन में साथ रहो साईनाथ मेरे जीवन में साथ रहो साईनाथ मेरे। तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं। मुझे शांति दो भगवान, तेरे द्वार पे मैं आऊं। मुझे शांति दो भगवान, मुझे शांति दो भगवान, मुझे शांति दो भगवान, मेरे जीवन में साथ रहो साईनाथ मेरे जीवन में साथ रहो साईनाथ मेरे। Shivaya Namo Narayan. Om Namah 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 Shivaya Namo Narayan. Shambho Shankar Deva. Shambho Shankar Deva. Bole Baba Mahadeva. Sai Baba Mahadeva. Bole Baba Mahadeva. Sai Baba Mahadeva. Shambho Shankar Deva. Pahi Prabho Sharanam Deva. Pahi Prabho Sharanam Deva. Pahi Prabho Sharanam Deva. Bole Baba Mahadeva. Sai Baba Mahadeva. Bole Baba Mahadeva. Sai Baba Mahadeva. Om Namah Shivaya Namo Narayan. 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 Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. I joined the school, Swami school, when I was in 7th grade. And when I was in 8th grade, there was a Vice Chancellor's conference. And during that time, the Vedam group was, Swami wanted the Vedam, the Swami wanted people to chant Vedas. So they started chanting every day. I didn't know the Vedas at that time. But I heard them every day and I started learning, I just started learning them. And then one day everyone was chanting. Swami was standing out front, or sitting out front. And he called me up and he asked me to chant. And I chanted. Everybody else was chanting and I chanted with them. And that was in November of 8th grade. And I joined the Vedam group after that. I was told I should sit there. So I sat and I started learning. And then, just in January itself, January 11th there was sports meet. And I had the privilege to serve the guests on the stage, serve them food. We would show the tray to Swami and then he would bless it and we'd go and pass on goodies to eat to all the VIPs sitting on the stage with him. And in the evening, we went for blessing, and after, there was a Vrindavan drama. After that drama, we kneeled up to Swami, and he asked me, "Can you chant?" And so we were standing by where the doctors sit on the left side. We were standing there. There was a ramp there, and we were standing on that ramp, and he asked me to chant, and I couldn't chant. Nothing came out of my mouth. And Swami, I was wearing a tie. He put his hand under my tie and rubbed my chest, my heart, and said, "Don't worry, I am there, chant." And I chanted. I was able to chant, and it was knowing that he was standing there next to me, that he would always be there for me. But knowing that he's always there, yes, that is really great, but I also have to put the effort in. And I learned that too when I was asked, I think it was a year later maybe, a year later, then he asked me to chant, and then one line, and then Vednarayan sir would translate, and I couldn't stop and then start again, and I couldn't keep it going. And I forgot everything after a few lines, and I looked at Swami, and he had this look in his eyes that told me everything, what I needed to do. I just knew with that one little glance that I had to put the effort, I had to practice. And that was one of the most beautiful things about Swami, was that he communicated by looks so well, and just by, you would be sitting there in front of him, and so much of the communication was non-verbal. It was very, very, that was really how I grew in those experiences. There was this other boy. He was studying in the music college, and he was from Lithuania, and Swami would call us both to chant Vedas, and Swami used to say, "Russian and American boy," they chant together, and every time, "Russian boy, American boy," and so we would chant. And he had his chant in front of, there was the Atirudra Mahayagam, he had his chant Rudram in front of all the hundreds of Vedic pundits there. It was this is it?
And the Veda is neglected today.
కారణం ఏమిటి?
Why?
దీన్ని ఉచ్చరించేటువంటి యొక్క వ్యక్తులు లేకపోవటమే కారణం.
There are nobody who would repeat, who would chant.
వేదములన్నీ పేదపడిపోయినవి.
And all these Vedas are neglected.
వేదమే పేద కాదు.
In fact, Veda is not so poor and low.
అది రిచ్. దానికి మించినటువంటి మరొకటి లేవు.
Veda is richest of all. There is nothing beyond.
అన్ని కూడా మానవుని యొక్క స్థితిగతులు అన్ని కూడా వేదములు అందే మిటి ఉన్నవి.
Man's position and fighting condition are very well contained in Vedic text.
ఇట్టి వేదమును సర్వుడు కూడా ఉచ్చరించవచ్చునని పూర్తి కూడా భగవంతుడు అని అనుగ్రహించాడు.
God has gifted Veda such that all can chant repeatedly.
దీనికి జాతి మత భేదములు ఏమాత్రము లేవు.
The Veda chanting has no differences like caste, creed and community.
Come on, boys.
Boys, come on.
American. Guru.
It had gone.
స్త్రీ సూక్తం చెప్పండి. స్త్రీ సూక్తం.
हिरण्यवर्णाम् हरिणीम् सुवर्णरजस्रजाम् चन्द्राम् हिरण्मयीम् लक्ष्मीम् जातवेदो मावः तामावः जातवेदो लक्ष्मीमनपगामिनीम् यस्याम् हिरण्यम् विन्देयम् गामश्वम् पुरुषानहम् अश्वपूर्वाम् रथमद्याम् हस्तिनागप्रबोधिनीम् श्रियम् देवीमुपद्वये श्रीर्मा देवी दुशताम् कांसोऽस्मिताम् हिरण्यप्राकार.
ఈ విధంగా ప్రతి దేశంలో ప్రతి జాతికి ప్రతి మానవులకు తెలిపించాలనేటువంటి ఉద్దేశము స్వామి యొక్క ఉద్దేశము.
It is Bhagavan's decision that there should be Veda chanting in every country, by everybody, by every caste, by every community, by every individual.
Unexpected. I never seen that. Okay, well, I don't have to say more about that. There was a different time. That was another time. Abhi, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. My story is a little bit different from Jeffrey's with Swami. I joined when I was younger than him. So I was in the primary school for longer, from 4th through 7th. Once in my 5th, I think, when Jeffrey was in 8th, I think this was before he joined the Vedam group or shortly afterwards. It was during winter break. Solomon called the two of us up and said, chant mantra pushpam. So we chanted and everyone else was chanting and we didn't have it down very well. And it was a little bit embarrassing, but I remember coming down and I had this resolve that I was going to learn to chant. And I remember I would be sitting there whenever I'd come on a festival day or something, and Swami would call up Jeffrey, and I'd see him standing there and chanting. I'd sort of have this feeling of, I wish I could be doing that. I wish I was old enough to be in that group and chant with him. And some of these feelings would come, but I was very happy with what I had, and Swami's grace is such. But I had a teacher that said, who taught the Vedas at the primary school, she said, if you don't open your mouth, you're never going to learn to chant. And so from then on, I started just sort of mouthing along with the Vedam that was being chanted. And before I knew it, with Swami's grace, I was able to chant along with most of what was being chanted. Then 6th standard came, and one morning we were sitting in darshan line, and a boy was sitting in front of me. He had a picture of Swami waving his hand and making something, or there was something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I was thinking in my head, Swami, how do you do it? And immediately as I thought that, the Vedam started, and Swami came out, and he came around and went up onto the veranda, and he sat there for some time. Then he called me up, and he said, can you chant? Yes, Swami, I can chant. And he said, chant. So I turned around and I chanted. We were doing Narayana Suktam. Then Swami motioned for the Vedam boys to stop, and then for everyone else to stop chanting. And so I was standing there alone and looking out at all the people, and my legs are going, and So I finished Narayana Suktam and I begin Purusha Suktam because I knew that was the one that Swami liked to make Jeffrey chant. And so I got through the opening few lines and then I took a deep breath and everyone in the front row started laughing and Swami said, okay. And so I turned to face him and Swami waved his hand and made a necklace and put it around my neck. I said, Swami, I love you, Swami. And Swami looked back into my eyes and said in the most beautiful, tender voice, I love you. And just my heart melted and I was in such bliss for so long. And then I went to the high school in 8th standard and I remember the Tirudra Mahayagam had started, and I hadn't joined the Vedam group yet. I'd come a little late, and I was sort of shy, and I wasn't sure whether I wanted to join, and I'd missed the auditions when they sort of made the boys chant and to see if they could be in the group. The teachers did that, and so I figured, okay, I'm content just sitting here. And so I'd go to darshan every day, and Swami was giving a discourse almost every day. And I would see Swami call up Jeffrey like that time, and Swami would say, chant. So I figured, okay, it's fine. If he wanted to call me, he would, but I'm content sitting where I am, and this is fine. But one day during a discourse, Swami was giving a discourse, and he stopped, and he motioned to Jeffrey to come up. He said, American boy, something like that. And Jeffrey comes up, and I'm not paying too much attention, I've been sitting there for some time, and I'm looking around the mandir, and I have a notebook, and I'm drawing something, and then all of a sudden I look back at Swami, and it's as if all the students sitting before me, like the seas have parted, and there's this pathway going all the way up to him, and I think they're making room for someone to bring something up to Swami. And so I look back, and everyone back there's looking at me, and everyone's staring at me, and Jeffrey's standing up there waving at me. So I drop what I was doing, and I run up, and Swami says, can you chant? I said, yes, Swami. And I started, and I was so out of breath, and I couldn't get anything out of my mouth. It was almost impossible. And Swami said, okay. And Jeffrey started chanting then, and then we started chanting together. And then from that day on, I was in the Vedam group. Yeah. Swami does most of his communication in a nonverbal way, like Jeffrey was saying, and sitting there in darshan chanting before him and being trained to have the focus that he wants everyone to have, to be able to focus on the love and the divinity that is within us all, to awaken the world to this. And that's really what, to me, Swami's message is that we are all one in this world, and we are all divine, and we all have divinity within us. We are all divine love. We are embodiments of love. And the only thing that is stopping us is our own weakness, our own human tendencies, and our unwillingness to love. And if we just give in to this and allow ourselves to love one another and love unconditionally and love everything, I think we'll all become one united force in this world to overcome all the negativity that has become so widespread. So I pray to Swami that just as an instrument is useless without a musician, so are we useless without his love. We can't do anything without you, Swami. Please help us spread your love in this world and help us be instruments of your love so that we may be instruments of your mission. Jai Sai Ram.
Our next piece, I heard this song during the 1998 Convocation drama, and I remembered it from there. When I was 8 years old, I remembered that I wanted to learn this song. It really touched me, and I found it a few summers ago online. So, the song basically means, come on mind, come to your own path. This is not your world. This world is not your place to live. Your place is with God. Why are you roaming day and night? Whatever you see is a false dream. No one in this world belongs to you.
चल रे मन अपने धाम, चल रे मन अपने धाम, चल रे मन अपने धाम, चल रे मन अपने धाम। इस जग में परदेस है बंदे, इस जग में परदेस है बंदे, भटक रहा क्यों सुबह और शाम, भटक रहा क्यों सुबह और शाम, भटक रहा क्यों। चल रे मन अपने धाम, चल रे मन अपने धाम। आँख जो देखे वो झूठा सपना, आँख जो देखे वो झूठा सपना, सब है पराए कोई न अपना, सब है पराए कोई न अपना। चल रे मन चल रे मन, चल रे मन, चल रे मन, चल रे मन 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 शंभो शंभो शिव शंभो महादेवा शिव शंभो शंभो शिव शंभो महादेवा हर 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 महादेवा शिव शंभो महादेवा हर 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 महादेवा शिव शंभो महादेवा हाला हलधर शंभो अनाथ नाथ शंभो हाला हलधर शंभो अनाथ नाथ शंभो हरि ओम Shiva Shambho Shambho, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva, Shiva Shambho Shambho, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva, Hare 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 Mahadeva, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva, Hare 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 Mahadeva, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva, Hare 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 Shambho, Anatha Natha Shambho, Hare Hare Shambho, Anatha Natha Shambho, Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Hari Om, Om Hari Om, Om Hari Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva Shambho Shambho, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva, Hare 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 Mahadeva, Shiva Shambho Mahadeva. Shayana Pankhajanayana Pannagashayana Shri Vasudeva Narayana Shri Vasudeva Narayana Papa Vinasha Brajanti Vasa Papa Vinasha Sai Narayana Karuna Sagare Narayana Pankaj Nayana Pannagishayana Shri Vasudeva Narayana Papa Vinasha Prajanti Vasa Bharatipuri Sai Narayana Paramananda Naharayana Paramananda
Anyone here has heard of Tyagaraja? Yes. Anyone here have heard of Beethoven? Beethoven and Tyagaraja lived at the same time, and both were in their own way dedicated to praying to God. And in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, he wrote the Ode to Joy, which was a prayer to mankind to stop all the fighting and recognize the unity of all. And so in this next bhajan, which is a Sarvadharma bhajan, we have incorporated the Ode to Joy. We've transformed it a little bit from 8 beats to 7 beats, and we changed the key also, so the Shruti is different, but you'll hear the Ode to Joy in the middle of this.
bhavantu samasta loka sukhino bhavantu samasta loka sukhino bhavantu samasta loka sukhino bhavantu samasta loka sukhino bhavantu. Allah tum Ishwar hai tum Mahavir Nanak Ram. Allah tum Ishwar hai tum Mahavir Nanak Ram. Partish Sai Shankara tum hi ho mere pran. Partish Sai Shankara tum hi ho mere pran. Allah tum Ishwar hai tum Mahavir Nanak Ram. Zorashtra Yeshu Buddha tum ho sabke palanhar. Zorashtra Yeshu Buddha tum ho sabke palanhar. Satchitanand Sai tera Vrindavan Shubhadam. Oh Satchitanand Sai tera Vrindavan Shubhadam. Allah tum, Allah tum, Allah tum, Allah tum, Allah tum. Allahutum, 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 Allahutum. Dati da.
Before we play our last selection, we want to thank Sundar and Subbu and their families from the Flushing Center for all their help in making our trip possible and setting up our concerts. We were at the Bethesda Center on last Sunday, and then we were in East Brunswick on Thursday night, and then last night we were at our hosts in New Jersey, Kamal and Sushil, at their home. They had a going-away party for an Indian family who's returning to India, and so they asked us to play. And we thought we'd play about 20 minutes or so, and then I asked Kama shortly before we were supposed to play, how long do you want us to play? Oh, no, whole thing. So I told the boys, they said, what? We weren't planning on this, but we did it, and it was so beautiful, and to come here is just a cap on just a fantastic week. And so we're so grateful to Swami for bringing us together, and that we can work on this music together and offer it to his lotus feet and offer it to all of you. And thank you. Thank you, Swami. So our last song, you'll know where to sing.
Saram, brothers and sisters. When this program was being conceived, we had no idea that this was going to be on Ramanavami Day. And as I was watching them perform, I was also recollecting some of what Swami has said about the Ramayana and the Rama principle. Swami has said that Ramayana is essentially a manual, a code of conduct for an ideal human being. How an ideal father should be, how an ideal husband should be, an ideal wife, ideal children. In my humble view, if there was a modern family that embodies the Rama principle, that tries to uphold ancient traditions, uphold values, and try to live the teachings of our beloved Swami, I think that family would very closely resemble what we see here today. Thank you very much, Paul, Mrs. Ellen, Jeffrey, and Robert. Thank you. We would conclude with Mangala Arati. If you wish, you can please offer Mangala Arati. Sir.